Oh yeah, what was it? Something like that. I can't remember. Some stupid power rankings dance. It's Thursday, guys, which means we are back again with another week of the Onefootball Power Rankings. This week we've had some Champions League action and there's been some movers, some winners, some losers, all within our list of top 10 players. So without any further ado, let's get straight into this week's video. First off, let's go through our winners and losers of the week. We have 2 losers and 1 winner. The winner you'll see later on in the show, but it is Eden Hazard. His fantastic goal against West Ham was enough to pretty much put him into the power rankings just on its own. Of course, his form has been brilliant, but where will he be within the top 10? Stick around to find out. However, let's move on to our loser of the week because trash talking people is just great. Our first loser is Diego Costa. He got sent off against Barcelona for Atletico Madrid. He said something to the ref, and now it looks like he might be banned for a minimum of 8 matches. What a plum. Next up, our loser is Eric Choupo-Moting. You all know what happened by now. The ball was chipped across, it was going in, and the PSG forward decided to stop it on the line instead of just tapping it in. He did that and PSG failed to win at home for the first time this season in Ligue 1. But before we get on to this week's power rankings, let's have a quick look at how the table stood last week. Robert Lewandowski was in at number 10. The RB Leipzig defender Willi Orban in at 7 with Jadon Sancho in at number 6. Of course, the top 5 was consisting of Mane, Benzema and Luis Suarez, with Lionel Messi, as always, sitting up top the tree. So for those of you who think that Messi's just going to be running away with it and sitting in number 1 again, well, I've got some interesting news for you, but we'll leave that until later in the show. First up, we'll start, as always, with number 10, and it's last week's number 8 who has dropped down 2 places, but it's through no fault of his own. Everton fullback Lucas Digne has been in brilliant form this season, and he was great yet again at the weekend as Everton managed to keep another clean sheet. He kept out the likes of Lacazette and Aubameyang in their 1-0 victory over Arsenal, and it now means that Everton have 5 clean sheets in their last 6 games. Into number 9, and it's someone who pulled the strings in midfield in one of the biggest games in the Bundesliga season. Whilst Bayern Munich were busy trashing Dortmund 5-0, Thiago Alcantara was in the midfield doing what he does best, playing some fantastic key passes and getting the move started for his team. He managed to chip in with an assist and just all round had a brilliant game as Bayern Munich managed to topple the leaders and take their space at the top of the Bundesliga. Into number 8 and a new entry in the power rankings this week, and it's down to his creativity and the vital role that he plays in the Leicester attacking lineup. Under new manager Brendan Rodgers, James Maddison has taken his game to the next level. He was already having a pretty impressive season, his first in the Premier League, but now he is looking like the complete player, and it looks like he may just get a big money move away from Leicester. This of course sounds rather negative that he's just going to use them as a stepping stone, but the truth is they signed him for 26 million last summer, so if a big team comes in with around 60 to 70 million, it's going to be hard for them to say no. Anyway, as for Maddison's form in the last 5 games, well, he's been absolutely brilliant, and he managed to bag a fantastic free kick against Huddersfield as they've continued their fine form overall. So he sits in at number 8 this week. Into number 7, and it's someone who you guys brought to my attention last week, and I've only just started following him and being able to put him in this week's power rankings. For those of you who don't know how it works, I can't follow every single player in Europe, so I have a list of about 100 of them that I consistently update every single week with their stats and ratings. Max Kruse of Werder Bremen has now joined this list after some scintillating form in the last few weeks. The forward has 5 goals and 3 assists in his last 5 games, but if you're wondering why he's not any higher than 7th, well, it's because all of those goals and assists came in the first 3 games of the last 5. The last 2 he hasn't done as much, and it's the most recent ones that count for more. And completing the first half of this week's power rankings is Roberto Firmino. The Liverpool forward is always spoken about when it comes to work rate, when it comes to being a key link from the midfield to the attack, and everything that he does off the ball. As soon as he starts adding goals and assists to his game, he'll be considered a top striker, and that is exactly what he has done. In the last 3 games, he has 2 goals and 2 assists, as Liverpool managed to beat Spurs and take themselves within touching distance of the semi-finals of the Champions League after he scored in a fantastic 2-0 victory over Porto. Moving into number 5 now, and this is some big news. It's going to disappoint quite a few of you, but it's Lionel Messi. Now, I mention every single week that Messi stays on top at number 1 because he consistently puts in good performances. If he doesn't, well, someone else is going to take his spot, and that's what happened this week. In the weekend's victory over Atletico, yes, he did score, he didn't have his greatest game, and in the game against Manchester United, he practically went missing. He wasn't really doing what he usually does, and so his rating went down a little, and over the last 5 games, he has dropped ever so slightly. I still don't agree with him being the 5th best player in the world. He's still number 1 for me. However, he is 5th on this week's power rankings. Of course, things can change very, very quickly, and I'm sure if he bags another couple of goals at the weekend, he'll be shooting up the list again. But for this week, he's number 5. So with that bombshell that Lionel Messi isn't number 1, well, who's it going to be? We'll find out very, very soon. However, one player that it won't be is Robert Lewandowski, because he's this week's number 4. As we mentioned earlier, Bayern absolutely trashed Dortmund 5-0, and whilst Thiago was pulling the strings in midfield, Robert Lewandowski was in the box putting the goals in. He managed to grab 2 against Dortmund, taking his tally to 6 goals in the last 4 games. We spoke briefly last week about Luis Suarez being one of the best number 9s, if not the best number 9 in world football, but surely Lewandowski is also in with a shout to hold that title. Okay, into the top 3 now, and taking the bronze medal home this week is this week's actual winner, and it's Eden Hazard. Now, he hasn't done enough to fit into number 1, but his recent form has been nothing short of very, very impressive. He has 4 goals and assists in Chelsea's last 5 games, as they've actually managed to climb into 3rd and ease some of the pressure on Maurizio Sarri. Hazard literally won the games against Brighton and West Ham, Chelsea's last 2 matches, by himself, and you can bet your bottom dollar that all of Real Madrid were watching to see just how he was doing. He is looking more and more likely to move in the summer, and with performances like this, Maurizio Sarri has even admitted that if Hazard wants a new challenge, well, he can't exactly stop him from leaving. So now we've come to the top 2 in this list. For those of you who watch every week, you'll know that I present a case for both players before giving you the information about who has taken number 1 on this week's power rankings. But before we do that, make sure you smash the subscribe button. This is of great help to us, and all of you subscribing is greatly, greatly appreciated. So if you like the power rankings and all the other content that we've got going on OneFootball, make sure to hit that subscribe button. But without any further ado, let's get into the top 2 from this week. First off, and it's Karim Benzema. Now, we all speak about Real Madrid having a less than impressive season, but since Zinedine Zidane has come back in, Benzema is literally saving his manager every single week. This weekend, he managed to grab both goals against Eibar as Real Madrid turned the game on its head and picked up 3 points to keep alive their faint hopes of finishing in 2nd position in La Liga. He's doing it every single week, and wouldn't it be so sweet if a Real Madrid player managed to take top spot ahead of Lionel Messi? This does mean that Karim Benzema now has 6 goals and 3 assists in his last 5 games, and even though Real Madrid as a team aren't doing so well, he is definitely putting himself in firm position to stay as the club's number 1 striker, no matter who they bring in the summer. So finally, we come to the other contender for this week's number 1, and brace yourselves, because not many of you may have actually heard of him. He plays for the 7th best team in Germany, according to the table at the moment, Hoffenheim, and well, his recent form has been ridiculous. The Algerian Ishaq has managed to score 6 goals and get 2 assists in Hoffenheim's last 5 games, and they've actually won 3 and drawn 1 of the last 4. Now, at this point, you're thinking, wait, hold on, you're probably going to have to go and Google him and find out who he is. Well, trust me, he has been brilliant and is deservedly fighting for the number 1 spot on this week's power ranking. So before I reveal to you who is number 1, of course, you can let me know all your thoughts in the comments section down below about whether you thought the top 3 was correct, who you would have had in, and who you would have kicked out of the top 10. You can also smash the like button whilst you're down there, and make sure you come back every single Thursday to check out our OneFootball power ranking. So there's only one thing left to do, and that's bring to you this week's number 1, and it is Ishaq. An unbelievable victory for him at the top of the table, and it just goes to show you guys that we're not just picking these out of favoritism or who we think is the best or personal opinion. If you're putting in the performances and getting some good ratings, well, you're going to find yourself at the top of the power rankings. Congrats to him, and I will see you guys next week.